essential part of Game of Thrones. It can be taken out pretty easily. But then you hit book 3. And certain problems develop because you eliminated these things in book 1. And this is what I'm looking at when I'm looking at the abridgment. So I took that abridgment, and for the same reason I backed away from all of these offers from movie producers and all that. You know, the Jackson movies, I'm watching the Jackson movies, and as a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, I'm looking at the choices he made, the things he kept, the things he eliminated. And the fact that they gave him 3 movies to do it, 3 movies for the greatest fantasy series of all time, 3 movies to capture it, that was an incredible act of faith on the part of New Line. It really took a courageous executive to make that decision, to let Jackson do his movies the way it is. Because, you know, you could see, I mean, most movie studios would not have made that. It was 3 movies, one of the first one flops. We're really stuck then. But let's just make 1 movie, and then if it's successful, we'll make a second movie and a third movie. Which is a disastrous way to approach material like this, like Lord of the Rings, which is one thing. And I said, you realize that we call it a trilogy, but Lord of the Rings is really 1 book. And it's a book of about the same size as A Storm of Swords. So it took 3 movies to do that. So I have 4 books out. So that would be 12 movies right there. And then I have 4 books yet to come. So it would be like another 9 here. Do you have a studio who's going to commit to 21 movies? And then let's put out the first one and see how it does. See, that's the last thing I didn't want to do. So when I'm turning down these potentially lucrative offers, the agents are getting a little frustrated. They're saying, well, what should we try to sell it as a TV series? And I've worked for 10 years in American television. Now I'm saying a TV series, boy. Do you know how Edward II died? Should I bend over right now when he eats over? I could just see how a TV series would go on CBS, ABC, and all that. You know, the focus groups, the executives, the Q ratings, saying, "Oh, you know, this is fine, but you know, they really like the puppies. Can we? The puppies and what's this? This other girl's on another continent. We don't need her. Let's film her." So. No, I had enough of working with networks, believe me, so I wasn't keen on that. But I said, the only way to really do this is to do this, if you really want to adapt it to television film, the way you have to adapt it to television film is as a miniseries, but not a miniseries the way they were making them in like 2000 and 2001, which is when we were having that. In those days, they were doing a lot of 4-hour miniseries. I said, we have to do this. We have to go back to the birth of the miniseries when television was doing shows like Roots and Shogun, you know, a 27-hour miniseries. That you can do. And those shows were very powerful and they were very successful for a time. And all the studios were doing them. We're going back to the 70s and the early 80s now. But ultimately, what happened, of course, is one of them flopped. And then the networks will woke up and realize what a colossal gamble we're taking, because if you make a 27-hour miniseries and you know what episode 1 flopped, then you've got 26 more hours that are in terrible ratings that you have to deal with. So nobody made them anymore. So I was saying, well, let's do it that way. The other way to do it, I said, would be for as a series of series, each book a full year, done for like an adult cable channel. Because you're never going to get the stuff on CBS or ABC or any of the American art things. It would have to go to, you know, someone like Showtime or HBO would be ideal, because there's nobody does this stuff better than HBO. And then my agents didn't actually listen to me. And they went out and made it happen. first step making it happen, since I was out of television, and I wasn't working in television myself, besides that, I still had 3 more books to finish. The first thing that they had to do was attach appropriate screenwriters, showrunners. And to do that, they had to find people that the studio respected, was enthusiastic for, wanted to be in business with. And they found 2 great ones in a pair of writers partners named David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, and Weiss, David and Dan, D&D as they're called, both of whom are considerably younger than me. Benioff is probably the better known of the 2. He's done some terrific novels of himself. His most recent one is City of Thieves. Before that, he did the 25th Hour, which he also adapted into a motion picture, a terrific motion picture, the same thing. He did Troy, which I know some people didn't like. I myself quite liked Troy. I thought it was a terrific movie. D.B. Weiss was also a novelist, so I like the fact that both partners had some experience writing prose, and he had done a novel about video games, and he had also extensive recent experience working in television and film. These guys are both very hot young screenwriters, and my agents, I think it was Weiss who gave Benioff the book. I'm not sure who gave Weiss the book, probably one of my agents, but possibly we found it on his own. But in any case, when I was out a few years ago in Los Angeles on some other business, they set up a meeting for us at the home restaurant, and I met David and Dan for the first time, and we talked about this. And they said all the right things. I mean, they knew the books inside and out. It wasn't the kind of case that I've been having, the meetings I've been having with some of the other producers about, well, we're going to eliminate everybody except Ned Stark because he's the important one. They had read all the books, and they wanted to take for adaptation, and they saw all the challenges ahead. I mean, I told them, it can't be done. Well, what you're going to do, it can't be done. I wrote these books to be unfilmable, and you guys are dancing into a buzzsaw here, but they're like super chickens here. They knew the job was dangerous when they took it, and they took it on anyway, and we put together a deal. They wrote a pilot script. We pitched it to HBO. HBO stepped up and bought it, developed that pilot script, made the pilot, last year. So, any television show is, of course, it doesn't all happen at once. It's like getting in the ocean, you put your toe in, and then you put your whole foot in, and then, you put your leg in, and finally you jump in all the way. So the first thing is ordering the pilot script, and then if you like that, you order the pilot to be shot, and you look at the pilot, you screen the pilot, you test the pilot, and then maybe you order a season. And that's where we are with this show. We filmed the pilot last year, principally in Northern Ireland, in Belfast. We did some scenes in Scotland, and we did a whole series of scenes in Morocco. And the pilot, a rough cut of the pilot was put together, which I have seen. You will never see it. Sorry. And they liked some things about it. They didn't like certain other things about it, but they liked it enough that last winter they ordered the first season's 10 episodes. So we have 10 hours instead of the 2 hours that we would have had with a feature film. We have 10 hours to tell the story of Game of Thrones. And 10 hours is much better than 2, I think you will agree. If the show is successful, then we will go on this basis, and we will do a second season. It might be 10 hours, it might be 11 hours or 12 hours. It's HBO's decision, not ours, but we will tell a slightly longer story of the Clash of Kings. If we go into that, A Song of Swords, things get a little trickier at that point. Someone's probably going to ask me about that. I know. I'll muddle through the answer when I get to that. So it's a great adventure. We have an amazing cast. I'm sure many of you have been reading Westeros, or Winter's Coming, or Mo Ryan's Watching Column, or The Televisionary, or The Hollywood Reporter. And you know many of our casting choices. We have Sean Bean playing Ned Stark, Peter Dinklage playing Tyrion Lannister. You know, we found some amazing young actors. The two guys who are playing Jon Snow and Robb Stark, I think are, in a year from now, their pictures will be on the walls of every 12-year-old girl in America, and perhaps Australia too, as they show it here. And we'll be having wars about which one of them is cuter. You know, it's exciting, and I've seen some of the filming. It's filming right now. There's part of me that wishes I could be over there in Belfast, but I'm not. I'm here in Australia, talking to you guys, but even when I'm not in Australia, I'm at home trying to finish Dance with Dragons. And my deal, I will be a co-executive producer on the show, but David and Dan are the executive producers. They're what we call the showrunners. So of the creative people involved in the show, the whole buck stops with them. But we have a great relationship. I've had input on, you know, casting, on scripting. I write one script per season for the show. Ultimately, they make the decisions. Of course, in consultation with HBO, the guy who writes the checks always has a certain amount of clout as well. And so it's not exactly what I would do. I mean, some of the actors, I might have preferred another actor, but I'm overall usually happy with the actors that we got, the cast we got, the scripts we got. I think it's going very well. When we'll be on, probably next March, but maybe not. Maybe February, maybe April, maybe not till next fall. Maybe for whatever reason they'll decide that they want to hold off a little longer. Maybe one of their other shows. HBO has a number of great new shows in development. Boardwalk Empire is debuting even while we're here in Australia. They have a show called Luck. This was starred Dustin Hoffman and Nick Nolte in development about racetrack touts. So, you know, there's a lot of great stuff going on HBO. The one thing, and I don't know how many of you are Australian here, how many are American, and how many are from other countries, but HBO is a cable channel. It's a premium channel. It works differently than the over-the-air channels. And I don't know if you have that here, but nobody just gets HBO. If you just buy a television set and turn it on, you can't get HBO. You have to subscribe to it and pay a monthly subscription fee, and then you get HBO's original shows and also their lineup of movies. You can get it through cable, or you can get it through satellite. Obviously, this means their audiences are smaller than those who watch CBS and ABC and Fox and the over-the-air network. It also means that they can go considerably further in areas of sexuality, graphic violence, and of course their shows are noted for that. They're adult shows. You have to sign up to purchase them. They're not just going to come into your living room and you know, disturb your small child who is accidentally or on purpose watching them.